Yeah, you know how it is, Cincinnati. We get into trouble. You know what's up, but
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dbacks Dispatch. We are on a hot streak right now. We just completed a 3-game sweep of the Cincinnati Reds. We're on a 4-game win streak. I don't want to say fully that we're back, but we're on the right track, which I am so excited about. Just watching this team is just so fun to watch. Like, when this team plays well, I just enjoy it more. Personally, um, offense is hitting, um, and we'll talk about it. Looks like Carroll might have come out of his little spell that he was on. Gurriel might also be coming out of whatever he's going through. Starting pitching's doing well. We got our dad back and Paul Sewald. So vibes are definitely there. We still need to get 2 more guys back to complete the vibe check. So hopefully we'll get that soon. But Gabe, how do you real quick before we dive into each game? How do you feel after this 3-game series compared to how you felt on Saturday? Really?
So this has been like just a whirlwind of emotions. Like it's literally that it's over and we're so back meme. Like that's how it feels right now. But just the fact that they were able to win all these games and they were relatively close for the most part up until, there was a couple hits that really put them, in position to actually win the game. But the first one, 6-2, it was close until Corbin hit the 3-run bomb. Same thing on the 4-3 one, 5-4. Like these were all really, really close games. And the fact that they're able to win these games, 2 of them were 1-run games, which is what they've struggled with all season, just winning these 1-run games. And as we've seen, like there's a few times during these 3-game set where I was like, oh, this is when the game goes out of hand. This is when we lose it. This is when this and that happens, because we've seen the pattern. The offense stalls and then the pitching just falls apart, whether it's the starting pitching or the relievers. Either one of them fails, and then the offense collapse because they haven't really won any games where they score anywhere from 4 to 6 runs. Like these are the games that they've been losing. They win the games where they score 10 plus, which is great. But also, this is what we've talked about before. Like you have to be able to win these close games where there's not a lot of offense. And just, I mean, it seems like once Paul Sewald got back, everybody clicked into place. And I don't know, it's just a vibes thing, or is it same with Paul? It's just having him there, everyone sort of adjusts and knows their role with the team now. So I don't know. I like where they're going. This is the first win streak of the season. Their first sweep. This is probably the first sweep I think since they swept the Cubs in September last year. Like it's been a long time since they've really stepped it up like this. So I'm happy to see it. Hopefully they can take this win streak into Baltimore, because I know they're scuffling a little bit. They got beaten down by the Nationals, but it's a tough team over there. So I'm happy what they were able to do today and these last few days. Hopefully they keep it up. I'm not fully ready to say we're back. I know we've been making Corbin Carroll memes about him being back, but he's made a lot of progress. I mean, the fact that even the 0 for 4 yesterday and the 1 for 4 today, a lot of pitches that he was seeing, other than maybe 1 or 2 where he's swung 3 times and missed, but more patient at bats, and not just him. For everybody was way more patient. They looked a lot better, and Sam Gurriel looked a lot better than he has been, and they were able to get clutch hits, which is what they haven't been able to do. So even though their actual numbers with runners in scoring position wasn't that great, but they were able to get just enough runs to win these games.
So, progress, like you said, it's nice to see them win those close ones, because we've seen a lot of them where they are winning the blowouts, but we haven't seen a lot of these like 4 or 5 run games. So it's nice. Brett, what were your just real quick thoughts on the series before we go into our more deep dive?
I mean, kind of just what just echoing what you and Gabe were saying. These and kind of what we were talking about before we went live tonight. so far to start the year, these kind of games in this kind of series were games that the D-backs would, blow in the end, would choke away, would be heartbreakers, would be, the typical like here we go kind of games. And like you said, we felt that a little bit in some of the moments here and there, but it was just good to see in general them turning it around. And actually, like winning the first game of a series for the first time since opening day. I think that was obviously huge. Obviously,
that is the most insane stat that we've had all year,
like,
is that we lost 10 straight series openers.
Exactly. So, like, obviously you can't sweep if you don't win the first game of the series. So the fact that they did that, I think that really set them up on the right tone. Having Gallon back, we'll get into him, was good. Starting pitching in general was phenomenal this series. Each starting pitcher gave up 2 runs or less. It was just a good team win overall. Like, there was good signs from Corbin. We'll get into him a little bit more, but he's still having some at bats where, yes, even if you're just looking at the box score, might not be going 2 for 4, 3 for 5, all that, but he's hitting the ball better. He's having some good at bats. He's recognizing things well. Same with Gurriel. Like, he's still having some at bats where he's looking a little lost. Same with Gino, but then some at bats where they're really barreling it up, where they're really recognizing the pitch as well. The bullpen, we got to see finally Thompson, Ginkel, and Seawald for the first time. And Brandon, we were talking about earlier, the fact that they were 4-0 last year, anytime that happened in the regular season, good sign so far this year.
All during the month of September, by the way. So that was just 1 month. So if we could do that over the next few months,
entire year, that'd be just
huge.
imagining the amount of games already this year. Obviously, we could do a whole shoulda, coulda, woulda for so many games that we've already had. You could do that with any sport, but just imagining the ones we could already have if we had the fully healthy combo. But just going from here, you can basically look at this could be kind of like the new start of the season, getting some of the key pieces back, getting a really huge win on the road, a really huge sweep on the road, going into, like, Gabe said, a tough team in Baltimore. It was just, there was a lot of good in this series that I really enjoyed seeing. That it was watchable baseball, all 27 innings.
Yeah, so it was really great to see. So let's go a little bit more deep dive. Game 1, as we previously stated, or Gabe stated, we did win 6-2. Zach Gallen started this game. And I know a lot of people before this game were worried because he missed a start. I think had we not had the B game, I think he would have started that next day. And I think because of that, it gave Torrey the decision, because Torrey said it was him that decided to kind of slow roll this thing with Gallen. If it was not Gallen that told him, because Gallen was like, I'm ready to go. But Torrey just kind of felt like he wanted to slow roll this thing with Gallen. So Gallen looked pretty good. He won 6 innings, 1 hit, 3 walks, 6 Ks. He's now 4-2 on the season. At one point, he had retired 15 of 17 batters faced. So anyone that's worried about his hamstring tightness, I don't think we have to worry about that so much, because he looked really good in this start. I don't know if it's his best start, but it's definitely up there. So it was really good to see him pitch very, very well, especially since he hadn't pitched in 10 days, because I think his last start was the Friday against Seattle. So 10, 11 days in between starts. Like that's a very, very long time. So Gabe, what were your thoughts on just the way Gallen looked in this start?
This was one of those very strange Gallen starts that he'll have every once in a while, where if you watch the game, you're like, oh, he kind of struggled a bit, like didn't seem to have his command fully and everything. Like the eye test didn't seem to show, that he wasn't at his best. But then you look up at the stat sheet and you're like, just 1 hit, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 79 pitches. Like, what the hell? Like, how did that happen? It's the same thing that we talk about, like with Devin Booker, where he misses 10 shots and it's like, oh, he looks like crap today. then you look up and he's like, oh, actually shot 60% and scored 40 points and had like, 8 assists. And you're like, how did that happen?
Gabe cut up.
He did for me.
Yeah, Gabe, I think you cut out for a second.
So yeah, I think
He froze.
we lost Gabe there.
Oh no, he was cooking too.
He was. He had some pretty good things to say. We'll just go. What were your thoughts on Gallon in this start?
I can go pretty quick just in case if I don't want to have Gabe, reset and lose a spot. I mean, like you said, it was a little bit weird. It's if you're looking at the box score, 3 walks, 6 Ks. I mean, just the 3 walks alone in 6 innings, my brain would immediately want to think that he probably threw like 95 plus pitches at the minimum. But the fact that he kept it at 79 pitches was really good to see. So I was really impressed with that. I think Gabe's back.
I can't tell if he looks like he's still frozen, actually.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, so Gabe, all I said was basically just that Gallon and his 79 pitches, kind of like you were saying, like it's weird. Like if you're looking at the box score, 3 walks, 7 or 6 strikeouts over 7 innings. I was expecting like 90 something pitches, but 79, you're like, that's weird. I mean, like weird for Gallon, not gonna lie.
Yeah, especially with the 8 whiffs. I mean, we've seen guys like with guys like Fott, who's like 12, 15, 20 whiffs or whatever. Like for him to only really have around 8 whiffs in total. But they came at the right time with those nasty curveballs and sliders that he was throwing. So, like I said, he's the ace. He's the ace of this staff. He's able to get the job done even when it doesn't seem like he is. Like just dotting up the corners. He had guys guessing. Like I think he had just a little bit of rust just because 10 days without pitching. He hadn't done that since before the season started. But I mean, he was dominant. I mean, you look at the stat sheet. He was dominant. But yeah, he looked really good.
Yes, I also because I'm looking at it now, it was really good to see that he did a pretty decent job of limiting the hard hit, like the amount of hard hit balls. I know that's one of the things that he's always kind of had a trend where some of the games, he'd have a really good box score, but then you go look at it and you're like, yeah, Alec Thomas and Lourdes Gurriel and at the time Perdomo and Cattell and Walker would kind of save his bacon on some of the plays because they would genuinely make like a really nice play on a really hard hit ball. I mean, in that one start, the Reds only had 4 hard hit balls in play out of, I think 23 they made contact on. 4 were hit hard. 1 ground ball, 1 line drive, 2 fly balls. One was a home run. Obviously,
there's a couple that were that Walker got. He had 2 really hard hit balls hit straight to him.
Yeah, I think
that
would be the ground ball in the line out.
Yeah, so I mean, his defense helped him out because I think he had runners on base. I think he might have even been in scoring position when that happened.
True. So I mean, another reason why even it's gonna suck with not having obviously the defense still with Alec being gone, but man, the fact that we still got Walker over there, Gurriel will still make up for his. He'll make a weird bonehead play in a corner, and then he'll just make like an insane diving play or leaping play at the wall. It's so strange. But yeah, Zach Gallen, it was nice to see him not really have to rely as much on the defense kind of making some insane plays. He was, limiting the Reds' barrel percentage and the contact pretty well.
Yeah, it definitely made me feel bad because I was one of the people that was worried. I'm like, what? He misses a start and then he gets pushed back a couple of days. I'm like, how bad is this tightness? And then I saw this. I'm like, all right, he's fine. Want to give a shout out to Shug for stopping by. Shug, appreciate it very much for stopping by. But this was the Corbin Carroll game, y'all. This was the Corbin Carroll I am back game. It was really funny. So on this home run that he hit late in the game, Steve Berthium thought it was a double off the wall. He didn't realize that the ball had gone out. Corbin had 5 runs batted in this game. 1 on a fielder's choice, 1 on a single, and then this 3-1 home run in the 7th. And so from what I heard on the radio this week is during the offseason, he was working on his swing because he noticed late in the year last year, a lot of people were attacking him with what we've seen this year, high and inside. So he worked on that this offseason, and his bat was too level. And that's why he had been struggling here to start the year. I don't think they completely abandoned it, but they figured out that's what the issue was. And I think we've seen the adjustments that he's made the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's definitely, again, he still swings at the first pitch too much for my liking. It does get frustrating at times, but I think we're on the upswing of him playing a lot better. It was interesting. Game 1 was the first time he had been back at the top of the order since Torrey had put him in the 7-8 spot. Very curious why. Was it just a feeling that Torrey had that he felt like he was due, so that's why he put him at the top? Because Carroll was the reason that we won this game. He drove in 5 of the 6 runs.
Yes, I honestly
only other run was on the Cattell home run that he hit right after this one.
Yes, I'm kind of curious too. I wonder. I didn't remember seeing any presser, at least that I can remember, of them asking is there a reason why, or maybe why they moved him up. Maybe it was just a genuine. He saw what he was, or he enjoyed what he was getting from Corbin at bat wise. Kind of like we were saying before. Was having good recognition. He wasn't chasing. Obviously, take away the swinging at the first pitches and popping them up. Maybe in Torreya's eyes, he's like, hey, you know what? I'd rather have you swinging at a pitch, just getting it underneath it and popping it up than swinging at, 3 pitches that are like he did in, we'll get to it, but even in today's game, a pitch that's basically at his eyes, or pitches in the dirt, 4 or 5, almost 3 feet off the plate on the other side of the batter's box. I'd rather him at least making contact and just barely missing on a pitch and, still having good at-bats, the other at-bats, than having genuinely really terrible at-bats, terrible swing decisions, being outclassed nonstop all the way, so maybe that's why he did it. But I don't know, because there wasn't, like we talked about it last show, there wasn't anything that was really indicating that, oh yeah, he's figured exactly out what he needed to figure out, and there's a he's going to be back up into the leadoff. Because I was shocked to see him in the leadoff spot. I'm not going to lie. I'm glad that he was back there. I think even if he's not producing well, I think it's a big part of the lineup, the creating the chaos. He does still work walks, he does still get on base. We saw Ellie De La Cruz this series alone. Just because it's a walk, you can use that to your advantage and immediately turn that into a double and maybe even a triple if you're smart enough with your base running.
So, Gabe, thoughts on just Corbin in this game?
Corbin Carroll's back, ladies and gentlemen. No, I honestly think this is something I talked about in the last pod where we were talking about the Padres, where he had a few hard hit balls where I was like, I feel like that would have gone in Cincinnati, or even in Petco. It's just because how big Chase is. His 420-foot bomb, wasn't out, and this one, I think, if you look at these StatCast or whatever it is, the data, it would have been a home run at Chase, and I think even the Cattell one would have been a home run at Chase. But I mean, that a lot of that goes in line with getting his confidence up, the fact that he can put the barrel on the ball, and it was against a lefty, and he was able to put it the other way. They had a breakdown of him that was really nice on MLB Network with I think D-Row and Sean Casey, where they really broke down his swing and the path that he was taking to the ball. And they mentioned something that I had mentioned in the season preview, which was he is sort of a little too his stance is a little too open, a little too wide compared to last year, where he was a little bit more closed up, almost had a sort of Yelich thing going on, or even a Bellinger thing. But just he was making contact. There's a lot of balls where up in the zone, up and in, making contact with them. And, it paid off. He seems to be really putting the work. And I want to give a quick credit to Torrey, where he on the post game show on Sunday, I believe, that he was saying that like he was seeing a lot of progress with Corbin. He was happy with what he's seen of him, and so he immediately, put him back in the 1 spot instead of the 7 that where he had been stuck this, for the last couple of weeks. And Carroll made him seem like a genius. Like I know we criticize Torrey a lot of times, where we might for his bullpen usage and Pavin, but there's times where he really shows.
Really easy though, because he makes
He does.
decisions, and you're just like, Torrey, what do you do? And then he makes decisions. You're like, this guy.
He does stuff like this where it's like he knows his guys. Like that's the thing. He knows these guys. He's especially with Carroll and a bunch of the other younger guys. He was there when they got drafted. Like he's been working with it, and something that Bronson Arroyo said on the radio broadcast yesterday. I think he was saying it was the first organization that he had been with where the message at the very lowest level of the minors all the way to the top, the message is completely the same everywhere. There's no, the coaches, the managers, everybody, they're all on the same page. And so, when by the time Carroll came up, Torrey knew everything about him. He knew Torrey, so he knows when his guys are looking good.
Yeah. So both Carroll and Marte's home runs would not have been a home run at Chase Field.
Yeah, the Cattell one, 100%. That the center field wall would have laughed and been like, "Ha ha! Enjoy your double."
So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Carroll's would have been a home run in only 14 out of 30 bucks. I was like,
that's still pretty impressive for being 14. I mean, usually if it's like 5, then I'm like, yeah, that's basically a Mickey Mouse home run. If it's only New York, it's a Mickey Mouse home run. But hey, if it's 14,
it would have been a home run at Petco, by the way. Just saying.
Hell yeah.
And so now it wasn't a safe situation, but Torrey did get Paul Sewald in the 9th inning on this game, and I'm fine with it. Like it's like, all right, first game back, let's go ahead and use them, and then he gave up a home run. It's fine. We were up 6-1. It's not a big deal. And then a lot of people's like, well, he should have used him on Tuesday. He didn't know he was going to need him on Tuesday. So it's just, yeah. Was it you or Gabe that said that?
I mean, and I totally agree. Like you know, in hindsight, you totally can't know. And like I get you want to get him in there, but even again, like it's me being an MLB The Show manager. I'm like, oh, why waste my closer when I can use him in an actual closing situation? Like, again, it's I get it too, because if anything, if we're being honest, if Paul didn't get activated, we would have been in the exact same situation with Kevin Ginkel being like the closer still on that same night. So it's really not like it was anything different than what we were dealing with from the beginning of the season until now. Like, yes, it sucked, but I mean, it wasn't like we were going from Paul Sewald closing and saving 4 games in a row and we had to go to Kevin Ginkel because he burned him on a day where he didn't need to use Paul. Like like I said, within 5 minutes of something happening, I'm like, oh my God, pressing the red button, God damn it, overacting. And then instantly it's like, okay, maybe calm down just a little bit. I see the reasoning why he went to Ginkel, and, he definitely struggled, but it's, if you would have told me that, I would have not said I wasn't surprised. I would have been like, yeah, it's the 2024 Diamondbacks bullpen.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So let's move on to game number 2, which was started by Jordan Montgomery. We end up winning 4-3. One thing I want to say, Mike Hazen has hit a home run on this DH situation. It was interesting. Like the first 2 weeks, Jock didn't get to play at all, and now Randall Grichuk doesn't get to play. But they're both playing very, very well. So this DH, like Mike Hazen hit a home run. Like he hit this out of the park. Did a fantastic job on this signing. Like I am like incredibly shocked. Like I was like, Jock Peterson, I don't know. And then I was like, Randall Grichuk. And then we find out right after he signed, oh yeah, he's dealing with an injury. He's going to miss pretty much all of spring training. I'm like, oh my God, seriously? Why would you sign someone if you know they're hurt, but it's working so well.
Especially, Jock's got basically the same stats as Jorge Soler when it comes to home runs and RBI. Just better on base, better average, better than JD Martinez.
Yeah. It was just something that I wanted to bring up because something that I've noticed over the last couple of series. Jock's hitting like 280, but his on base is like 410. Like he is fine getting walks because he knows there's guys behind him. Like he was hitting in the 5 spot for a while. Torrey moved him up to the 3 spot here in this series. Like in the 3 spot, he knows. All right, I got Walker behind me. Then there's Suarez. There's Moraine. Like he knows if he gets on base, there are capable guys behind him that will drive and run. So he doesn't have to worry about, oh, this is my chance. If I don't do it, then we're not going to score. And that's what I love about this team is, yes, they will try and get the clutch hit if need be, but they're not going to force it. If there's not a pitch to hit, they're like, all right, walk me. I don't care. Because the guy behind me is just as good. And it could, like, say there's a runner on second and you walk him. Oh, there's now 2 on. So now the pitch is even more important. So just wanted to give props there to Mike Hazen for a fantastic job with the signing. Gabe, how did you feel that Jordan Montgomery looked in game 2?
I kind of had the same feelings that I had with Gallen because he really seemed really spotty with his commands. Didn't really seem to locate. I mean, he got touched up for 7 hits and 2 walks. At some point during this game, I think it was the 3rd inning maybe, he gave up a couple, like 5 hits in a row. And I was just like, damn it. Like, here we go again. Like, he might be, give up a few runs here and then, be out by the 5th. But then he just settled down and then did Jordan Montgomery thing. Yeah. So then he had 2 strikeouts, but what we talked about, same thing when we first got him, was just, that's not what he relies on. He's a ground ball and pop-up pitcher. And we saw that. He just get a guy on base, boom, double play. And then, or just pure ground outs, and the defense helped him a lot. There's a couple that were to Suarez that he did a really nice play on. Like he became dominant at some point during the game. I think it was the 4th inning. So then he just cruised, and same thing, like 7 innings, 95 pitches. That's our number 2. Like this is an ace stat, and that's our number 2 right now too. And even then, like it's still pretty damn efficient. 95 pitches, like let's say in a playoff situation, you could probably throw him out there for the 8th if you need to, like if the bullpen isn't ready, especially with him, not relying so much on fastballs. He had what says right here, 17 fastballs. Like everything is off speed. It's all like he probably felt fine after this game. He's a workhorse. So, I mean, it's what I love to see about him. And I know, Jared Carrabis is punching the air right now.
Yeah, he was really balanced. So 95 pitches, 30 curveball, 26 changeup, 22 sinker, 17 fastball. So I thought that was a really, really good balance for him. Yeah. And like as you're talking with Gallen, you're like, he didn't look that good. And then you look at the box score, 7 innings. You're like, wait, how? Like,
yeah, Monty just, like Gabe said, he definitely got roughed up a little bit. He wasn't like that's what good pitchers do in baseball. Like, on days, it's weird. On days when they don't have their best stuff, especially it was good to see him bounce back, actually be on a normal day's rest, get his normal, work in. He didn't have to worry about doing his normal routine and then pausing and doing it again the next day. Even with that, 7 hits, the fact that he went 7 innings, that was really huge for this bullpen, especially in the situation they were in. Like that was, if he goes again, I think if he goes 6 innings, we probably blow that game and lose it. I don't think we have enough arms to get through those last. We barely had enough with Ryan Thompson, which, by the way, goddamn, if we're gonna talk about Mike Hazen,
thank you Tampa for letting him go.
We have to bring it up every single time when we get the chance, because he's genuinely, like, Mike Hazen's always gotten a lot of flack for his bullpen moves. I've always been very vocal about it, especially in the past few years. It's always been the band-aiding. We're gonna get some 35 maybe 32-year-old plus like veteran who's past his prime and is basically
Mark
not even
Melanson?
good enough. Yeah, Melanson, Ian Kennedy, Joaquim Soria. Like, I loved him for a year, but Yoshi, when we got him from Japan, like he was decent, but like they just, always temporary patches and fixes. Where Ryan Thompson is one of the few bullpen additions that has been genuinely amazing for Mike Hazen. Not just amazing over a stretch, not a month or two. The entire time he's been here, Ryan Thompson has been fantastic. I know we'll get to it. Even today's game technically got hit up a little bit, but that was a bad situation he was put in. He is money when he's in there. And if Montgomery doesn't go those 7 innings, maybe they try to rely on Thompson for an extra couple outs, but I don't know. Like it was really clutch to have Monty go those 7 innings to really save the pen, so T-Time can stay in his normal 7th, 8th inning area, and then Ginkel could go in the 9th.
15 games. Again, this is as of today's game. 15 games, 15 innings, 1.2 ERA with a 0.8 whip with 11 strikeouts. That's what you want out of your 7th, 8th guy. Like, that is what you want. And if they can, now that we got Seawald back, this really shortens the game. Like, if we can get our starters to go 6, T-Time, Ginkel, Seawald. Like, I don't remember what season it was, but it was the Kansas City Royals. That's why they went on a run that postseason. They shortened the game to 6 innings because they had a 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guy that were lights out. All right, so the 2015 Royals, like it was nasty. Like you didn't get 27 outs, you got 18 because those last 9 outs. Good luck. So
yeah, I want to talk about like towards the end of the game real quick. With Ginkel, like he got into trouble, and I know we were talking about it last time about when you asked if Mantiply wasn't one of the Tories ace guys, but he showed why. I mean, he was put into an impossible situation, and something we've talked about is that Tory a lot of times he doesn't put his guys in positions to win, or to positions to win, because Ginkel, I mean, dude crapped the bed. There's no other way to say it. He looked bad. He wasn't getting any swings or misses or anything, and putting in Mantiply, 4-3, 1 out, guy on third, guy on first. At that point, the options were strikeout, ground out, or double play. But these guys the Reds are really, really fast. They're really good runners. So even if he got the double play or double play ball, there's no guarantee that he would get the actual double play. And we saw like what's his face, the lefty, he was batting. He had that weird hit where it hit off his foot, and then Mantiply got it. If that was fair, that they would have been tied. But Mantiply, walked on high wire. He got the strikeout, and I believe he got the ground out. Was it? But whatever it was, the fly out. Oh, to Jake. The fact that he was able to come in an impossible situation, he had to be perfect. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like he came in. I think they even said on the radio yesterday, they were talking, or today, they're saying that he literally took 10 pitches to warm up, while Ginkel was falling apart. Like Torrey just called, he threw 10 pitches in the bullpen and came in right away. He warmed up, and that's what I was watching it with my brother, and I told him, like, damn, like, it really sucks. Like, he did not have any time to warm up. And so I thought maybe, like, damn, like, if he gets roughed up, if he, allows a fly out or whatever to score, I don't blame Mantiply, and people shouldn't blame him. Like, he's put into the most impossible situation, and he was able to come up clutch and win the game for them. Like, it was so incredibly valuable, especially because they didn't have to use any of these other guys. Didn't have to try to get Ginkel or Seawald up or anything. So
I think if Seawald hadn't just come back within like the last 48 hours, because I think that's the only reason why Torrey didn't use him on Tuesday, is he used him on Monday, and he just wanted to slowly get him acclimated. But there was a quote that came out today where Torrey said, "Nope, he is all in. He's full in. He's good to go." So Brett found this interesting tweet from the Kansas City Royals, 2014-2015, in 30 playoff games, a 2.62 ERA, 1 home run in 11 World Series games.
And
That's
because I was looking into that a little bit, because one of the guys that I remember specifically from that Royals bullpen was Wade Davis.
Yeah.
Wade Davis, you go look at his stats. I know like ERA plus can be a little bit tougher with relief pitchers, but in that 2015 season, Wade Davis threw 67 innings. He had an ERA plus of 448. He was 348% better than league average with like adjusted, like park value and all that. He had a .787 whip. Ryan Thompson last year for the Dbacks, again, very, very much smaller sample size. 67 innings for Wade Davis, 13 for Ryan Thompson. But Ryan Thompson last year had a 6.50 ERA plus and a whip of .538 for us. This year in 14 innings, he has an ERA plus of 3.41, a whip of 0.75, and he already has a B WAR of 0.6. For a reliever, that is insane. Again, I'm not saying Ryan Thompson is Wade Davis, but Brandon actually does make a great point where if we can have, if Seawald can, be locked down like what he was when we got him, if Ginkel can settle back down into the role that he was in the playoffs, and T-Time can keep doing T-Time things, it can resemble that Royals bullpen a lot in obviously in a lot of our hopes, but I can see some resemblances.
We
So,
also, I just want to say, we also have Slade, who struggles the third time through the order, so potentially he could be the 2-inning guy come playoff time, especially with that fastball that he has.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
So I don't think it's going to be Thompson is always the 7th, Ginkel is always the 8th. It's going to depend on who they're playing and who's coming up. Like, what is the more important outs? Because Thompson is very ground ball heavy, and I feel like Ginkel is very fly ball heavy. So if the guys they're facing, I think, have power, I think he'll probably feel more comfortable with Thompson to get those ground balls. So I think it will be interchangeable with those two, depending on who's coming up in those. Like, what 3 outs are more important for Torrey, the 7th or the 8th, and it just depends on who's batting there. Want to give a shout out to Eugenio Suarez. Hit a home run in this game against his former team. Career home run number 249. Needs one more for the big 250. So I think it'd be really great if we could see it this weekend. If not, do it at home next week. So good job there. There was also a very funny moment in this game.
Protect the jewels.
Protect the jewels. Like, there was a delay for this for like 2 or 3 minutes. You really feel bad. It was just a bad bounce. Gabby tried to get it. He missed. And any man that watched that knows exactly how that feels. Like,
I really wish,
even if it barely hit him, like, that feeling is just not great.
I really wish that the MLB would get the field mic and like release the sound of him, like, the pitch before, the strike before, when he's like, ha, and then the very next one it's ha.
It's probably sounded like he probably sounded like that video of that lady who falls from that, like, squashing the grapes, like, ow, 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 ow.
Josh, can you make your own meme of this, or like a video that we can use? Great Bambino. Our graphic extraordinaire, Josh, who does all our thumbnails, is
he cooked
producer.
again with tonight's, man. That, like,
he did.
The BBL Cincy was funny, and I was not expecting the actual thumbnail. That was 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So as soon as we won game 2, I'm like, awesome. We won a series. I'm content with that. Now I was like, obviously, I want to win the 3rd game because I want to win as many games as possible. But if we don't, it's fine. But we did. We swept. We won game 3, 5-4. Slade Ciccone, again, the first time through the lineup, he looks dominant. And even like halfway through the second time, because I don't think he gave up a hit till like the 4th. That first time through the lineup, he is truly special. Like he is. I don't know if it's just he's still so new that teams just don't have film on him to know what he's gonna do, and they don't know how to attack him yet. And this caught stealing on Ellie was huge. Was huge in the 6th inning because they had Ellie on second with no outs. 3-1. He was at the top of the lineup for the 3rd time, and we know how he struggles that 3rd time through the lineup. So just getting that out right there, I thought was huge for Slade. Finished at 5 1/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was on a home run. He only had, though, like that. If there's one critique from this weekend, from this series, it's Slade and Montgomery didn't exactly strike out as many as I would hope you would see a starter get. Like I like to see 4 to 5, personally. But as long as you don't give up runs, I'm completely fine with that. So, Gabe, what were your thoughts on Slade's outing?
Yeah, he looked just the thing the first couple times through the order. This is the 3rd time where he really struggles. Same thing as the other game. He had 9 perfect innings. This time I think he had like a no hitter through 3 or something like that. And then that seems to be when the wheels fall off a little bit. And I honestly thought when he got to that 5th inning, I was like, damn, like this is it. Like he's gonna allow 4 runs. And I feel like I'm saying like everything's so pessimistic, but it's just with the way this season has gone, it feels like okay, here we go. This is the same pattern that they've been following. But he was still able to get out of the 5th with just allowing 1 run and everything. And I mean, he has a real swagger about him. Like I just mentioned it earlier. Like when we get Merrill back, when we get Erod back, like we might not have a spot for him or Ryan. Maybe could they go? Could it be a piggyback thing where one gets 3 innings, the other one gets 4, or they both get 4? However they settle that, because this is who Slade is. We are going to need him in the playoffs. Like we're going to need a guy who's going to go out there and give you 2 just like completely dominant innings, shut down whatever rally is going on. So like let's say Gallen goes 7, you can throw Slade out there for the 8th and even the 9th, just depending on who's facing. Like especially when you're changing up that velocity, or even after Montgomery, like Montgomery throwing 91 fastballs and he's coming out here with 97, 98. Like it's a totally different view. He's completely dominant in those first couple of innings. So I like what I've seen out of him so far throughout the season, and I think we might really have something here. I know so far ZRA doesn't show up, but just small sample size, but he's really been impressive.
Yeah, I've been like I was like literally like I think this was his 4th start, 4th or 5th. I think he's looked really good. Like I've been very impressed. I'm like he was given the opportunity because we are shorthanded with injuries at the starting pitching position, and he's taken the reins and he's run with it. Like he is forcing this team to, once we are healthy, to make the tough decision. Like as a coaching staff, you love to see that. Like you're like, all right, so we actually like this isn't so cut and dry. We will have to make a hard decision. Because I think right now, Erod is probably first on the list to come back for starting pitchers. Because we know Kelly's probably still out at least a month or 2. So Erod's probably going to be next. So Slade's taking every start that he gets. He's trying to put his best foot forward. So I'm very impressed. Brett, thoughts on Mr. Ciccone? You are muted.
There you go. I make sure I don't have my keyboard clacking in the background. Just kind of like you guys were saying, just really impressive to see what he's got, especially knowing, if he doesn't have the swing and miss, he has the kind of stuff to, have his defenders involved in, ways where they're not having to make like insane plays. As I say, that Cattell makes a really nice sliding grab. He's just been good about, limiting damage when he needs to. And I was listening to the PHNX show, and Jesse brought up a really interesting stat that actually kind of blew my mind. Slade's opponent's OPS the first time around, I believe he said was a point like 084, 0.08 something, which not even just like an average or an on base, an OPS, like an on base plus slugging of 0.08 is insane. That's really impressive. Like you're saying, he starts off every one of these games just mowing hitters down. We saw in the Padres game, he kind of hit a little speed bump. Even the one the Reds had like 4 batters in a row, the home run, the double off the wall, the hit batter, yeah, it definitely was looking like he was, unraveling. So that kind of brings back to Gabe's point of, obviously you don't want to, and they even touched on it in the broadcast, you don't really want to, move guys from the bullpen to the starting rotation back and forth too often. You kind of want to pick one and decide. And I imagine, because they even said they had those discussions about Slade coming out of spring training. Oh, do they want to turn him into a bullpen guy? And they're glad they didn't, obviously, because they need him now. But, once we get a little bit of a healthier rotation, like Gabe was saying and you were saying, and once we get back to, Brandon Pfaadt being our 5th, and we don't really have a spot for Nelson and Slade, I'm not gonna lie, I feel more comfortable having Slade be that guy that comes out for exactly like Gabe said, those 2 innings. If even if it's not in the playoffs, if it's those late stretches down and we're fighting for, let's say, a wild card or even hopefully for the division, and your starter can only give you 5 innings, you don't want to worry about going to tea time or Ginkel too early. I would be very comfortable with Slade coming out from the even the 5th and the 6th, facing those 6 hopefully only batters and mowing them down and getting it over, because it's kind of like we talked about with some guys. If like that's why they had to convert Archie Bradley into the bullpen, because sometimes you're only effective for a certain amount of time before guys figure you out, before even if they don't figure you out, before your stuff loses whatever that little bit of effectiveness is that made it, go from being you're getting kind of like how Paul Sewald can throw 94 miles an hour by hitters right down the middle every single time. And you're like, how are you doing this? Like, how do you do that every time? And they're not even touching it and they're struggling with it. And then some days it's easy to hit. It's just, if Slade can just have that little bit of something for 2 innings and be able to come out of the bullpen and be really locked down and key, I think that just adds an extra weapon to, we don't have to just get to the 6th inning for the 7th, 8th, and 9th. As long as we even get through 5, we have a weapon in the bullpen that can at least get us a couple extra innings after that. It doesn't have to be just the final 3.
Yeah. I think Slade is really setting himself up to be the team's long man once we are fully healthy. Like, he'd be the guy, like, say one of the starters can only go through 4 or 5. You can use Slade as that bridge guy to get you to the 7th, so then you can use Thompson, Ginkel, Sewald. Even Mantiply has looked really good lately. I've been very impressed, which is good because we do need that lefty. Like, you do need that solid lefty that you can bring in to face these teams that do have very good left-handed batters. So very, very pleased. So Lourdes Gurriel came up with a very clutch RBI single going the other way today. I was, and I still am getting a little worried because if you take a look at his spray chart, so many ground balls. He is grounded into way too many double plays.
Yeah.
Like that's my biggest worry with him. And I understand why Toy put him into the 2-hole because they needed to fill that because they moved Carroll down, and you thought maybe changing it up might help. That didn't really help him. He put him into the 5 spot in this series. He's looked better, but he's still like too many double plays, and it's like it is frustrating to watch because the thing is he's such a streaky hitter. We saw it at the beginning of the year when he's hot and on. Oh my Lord, You cannot get him out.
Yeah.
But when this current stretch he's on, can't buy a hit. Couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. He's struggling very, very much right now. Gabe, what are your feelings on Gurriel right now? Do you think it's kind of the same thing with Corbin? He's just going through a rough patch?
Yeah, I mean, we saw this with him last year. Like, he would have these stretches where he was 2 for 30, and like, I just think the difference is he's having it early this year compared to last year, where he had it towards the middle of the season, like right around the time they were all struggling. But this is something that Blue Jays fans would always say about him, is that he was either the hottest or coldest hitter in the league, where he'll either bat 150 for 1 month and then win Player of the Month the next. Like, this is just who he is. He seems to be coming out of it a little bit more, but I honestly think it all comes down to Corbin. How does Corbin look? I think he's like really just like the battery for this team. If Corbin is doing okay, I mean, he contributed to all these 3 wins, which is something they hadn't done like this whole time. It's just he hasn't really contributed to the wins really, or even the losses. Like, he goes over 4, over 4, over 4, and doesn't really do much to win the game. And so, seeing Gurriel, maybe come around a little bit more. But this is what we need. We need our highest paid players to come out and, do their job, like Cattell, Corbin, Gurriel, Gino. These are the guys who have to show out, because we have a lot of young guys. We have a lot of guys in minor league contracts, and we can't rely on the guys who are, either minor leaguers or not minor leaguers, rookies, and guys who are in minor league contracts to get the job done, when we're paying these guys a combined, let's see, about 60 million together between those 4 guys. They have to show out. They have to do their job. They have to win these games for them. Like, we're not going to get very far if they're not pulling their weight.
Yeah. Brett, thoughts on Gurriel right now?
Yeah, it makes me wonder if there's some maybe group of small aliens that snuck into the Dbacks locker room and they're passing around some kind of magical baseball that is just taking and sapping the powers from certain players every now and then. Like, it was Corbin for a little while, and now it seems like it's Eugenio and Gurriel. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, it's definitely annoying seeing him. It's never fun seeing any of the players struggle, obviously, especially if they're doing it consistently. Like you said, the double plays are killing me. I think he grounded into his 6th one now this year alone, which is just ridiculous to have 6 double plays just over a month into the season for one player. I mean, like you were even touching on Gabriel and what Blue Jays fans have said. He's just such a streaky hitter. Like, this is who he is. I'm not necessarily worried, I guess. Because we've seen this, we saw it last year. If he gets under 200, I guess yes, I will be worried. Especially we know his hand's fixed. There shouldn't really be any issues like health wise. I'm not necessarily there. I think it's a little bit more, attributing to the fact of the entire team has just been pressing. Everybody, it seems like they've always been trying to be who's going to be the guy to get the big hit, who's going to be the one to really, even in this series, we never really had Corbin's 3-run home run, I think, is the closest you could say to being like the big hit that really broke anything open. Because even in the 4-2 game or the 4-3 game, obviously it's a 1-run game. Nothing got broken open. Today's game, 1-run game, had many chances today to really add on.
I would say this play was the one.
Well, it definitely was a super clutch play, but also, let's be real, if it's a better throw, Tucker Barnhart, also, why the fuck aren't you sliding? Tucker Barnhart's out if that's any. You want
to know why? Because the guy that's on the on deck wasn't there.
No, I mean, I know it's one of those baseball IQ things. You got to be better about that, boys. But there wasn't that super big back-breaking hit on the other team that really makes them feel like they're out of the game, like the game's over, just like, oh, pack it up, go home. And just the entire lineup, I feel like, has been doing that. Like, even Gino, the last few weeks, it seems like he's been pressing really hard. Corbin, we've seen he just swings at everything.
I'm Gino, what are we swinging at here?
I just feel like every player is just weird timing for all these guys to go through their slumps. Like Walker had a weird, week and a half long slump that he's out of, and he's pissing on the ball now. Cattell seems to be going through a little bit of one. Like he's still, getting hits here and there. He's still hitting the ball hard. He's just not having as much luck. He's not having the 2 for 3s and the 3 for 4s and 3 for 5s that he was having earlier. It just seems to be kind of like a rotating carousel of certain guys will struggle while the other guys won't. Just this series was more guys picked or carried their weight and actually came up clutch. Like Paven had a clutch double in, I think, the second game of the series. It was a team win, team series overall, and things we didn't see them really do much the last few weeks.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to say, Kevin Newman, I got to give you props. That acting job you did today on Stuart Fairchild, that was a huge double play. And what's funny is Cattell kind of joined in on it as well. Like, Fairchild had no idea where the ball was. And then Carroll makes a very good throw from center to double him off there. Like, that was a huge double play in the 8th. Like, because that, like, you have a runner potentially on second with less than 2 outs. They could have tied the game. So, just want to give props there to Kevin Newman. Jock had a fantastic day today. Gets us on the board early with that home run. And then this. In the 9th inning, only up by 1, he gets on with a bunt single, lays it down perfectly, and then later that inning, he steals a base. What is going on? Like, Jock, like, I know a lot of people was like, I don't like Jock. He just, like, I freaking love Jock. Like, he turns on that inside pitch so well. Like, there's been so many foul balls. You're like, oh, if he's just a little bit more on time, that's a bomb. Like, he has 4 home runs on the year, and he literally didn't play at all the first 2 weeks. So
he kind of looks like he punches himself in the chest when he swings at those inside fastballs a little bit. It blows my mind the strength that like athletes and baseball players have, man. Like it insane. 94 up and in. That wasn't even a bad pitch. Like you said, Jock's just a good hitter. That's like just a good fastball. A
home run in all 30 parks, by the way. So
I love hearing that.
Yes, he didn't have a cheapie, but like when I saw him, and again, I don't blame him for laying down the bunt. Third baseman wasn't even close. So if they're giving that to you, go ahead and take it. Because like his situational awareness in that moment was huge. He's like, all right, we're at 5-4 in the 9th. A insurance run would be helpful. So I got to do what I can. And he just felt like I'd probably have a better shot of laying this down. Like, Jock's not like super slow, but he's not exactly fast. Because there's been some line drives that he'll hit. I'm like, oh, that was close. Like, that should not be as close. Line drive into the gap for a double. So, yeah, like, Jock, like, and I think Tor's done it a couple times. Like, he'll do one with where he has Jock and Grichuk in, just to give either Jake some rest or whatnot, because Grichuk is still a really good defensive outfielder. So, Jock, you're awesome. I think a lot of people don't like him because he has a Tesla Cybertruck. I'm like, who cares what he drives? I don't care. He's a good baseball player.
I like him simply for it's because I know I put it in the notes. But one of the things that is really big with him that I really like is just like that veteran experience. I know they brought him in because he's, playoff experience too. But after Candelario, tied it like earlier again, that look of just looking at the dugout again. I don't know if it was looking at Walker or if it was somebody in the dugout, but that kind of like you see what I did? It's not hard. Let's fucking go, you guys. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, it's that kind of like, it's like we just replaced Fam. It's literally like it's like another Tommy Pham that kind of like he's going to call somebody out. He's not going to get slapped, and he's not going to have probably a fantasy football league. But he's
I
still going to
still
call
want
some.
them to bring back Tommy Pham and have him on the same team as Jock.
I mean, hey, you never know if Grichuk doesn't pan out the rest of the year and Tommy Pham is hitting the way he does in the White Sox. Maybe we do have the most insane collab you've seen in baseball 2024. But I just really like what Jock does for this team on the field and in the clubhouse, man. And I don't think it's a lot of the people dislike him because he drives a Cybertruck. Trust me, I had to get over it. I think it's because he was a fucking Dodger.
I'm fine when they come here. I get mad when they go the other way. When they're here and they go there. Pollock, Peralta. So, Gabe, any final thoughts on the series as a whole?
I was just happy about, winning the series because that's what matters. You just have to win series. Sweeps are amazing, but what matters now is winning the series, being able to get some games back. I mean, there are 6 games below 500. Now they're 2 games. They're a game behind the wild card, which I know it's early to be, scoreboard watching, but still, you got to put yourself in position to be there and not have to, play, your heart out the last 2 weeks of the season like they did last year just to get that last spot. Hopefully, they're able to get the second spot or maybe even the first spot. I think Brett just disappeared, but yeah, hopefully we're able to be able to string some more wins together. If they have 4 in a row, if they lose 1, win 4 again, just keep it rolling, keep this momentum going. There's the first time.
I'm fine with losing games. Don't make it streaks. Like 1 or 2,
yeah.
and then get right back to a 3-4 game streak.
Yeah.
So, Josh makes a good point. He has the most infield hits on the team. He's more than Corbin. Brett, just final thoughts on the series.
It was good to see. It was stressful, especially watching all of it. Just winning all of them, not having a post game recap or post series recap where we have to focus on any really negative. It's just nice to have a lot of positive. Just really nothing but positive. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, this is a really good series. We're 2 games back under 500. I think this is really, really going to be one of the keys that they needed going into this tough series in Baltimore.
Yeah. And then just want to give a shout out. Paul Sewald got his first save of the season here in Game 3. It was very, very stress-free, which was nice to see after we got what we saw in Game 2. So, as Brett said, we have a big series. We're going to Baltimore Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This Baltimore team is so good, you guys. And they're going to be good for a very long time. They have probably arguably the best catcher in Adley Rutschman. Gunnar Henderson is phenomenal. Jordan Westbrook. Colton Cowser is on a freaking tear. And Cedric Mullins has the catch of the year. And it probably will be the catch of the year that he did on Jackie Robinson Day.
It's Cedric Mullins. I can't escape. I'm sorry. The clip will always be in my head forever. I love AJ.
Like, he made, that diving catch that he made, full extension. I can't see anyone making a better play this year. And it's crazy to think about that the play of the year could have been in, the second week of the season.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That play is phenomenal. So our pitching matchups are such. We got Brandon Pfaadt versus Colt Irvin. It's on Apple TV Plus tomorrow, so just be prepared of that. Yeah, Gabe, Brett was kind of the same thing. He's like, all right.
I thankfully I do believe if you did what the Dbacks the Dbacks tweeted out last time they had an Apple TV game, a link for 2+ months of free Apple TV. It should still be good for that at least. So if you did that, hopefully one more Apple TV, but. God, dude, those broadcasts suck. The one good thing they've ever done was, I believe, last Friday they had an entire at bat where it's so funny that the one good thing they did is where they just shut the fuck up, and every single person, like every broadcaster, just turned off their mic and they just let the stadium sound play.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I love that. Which, don't get me wrong, sucks as a viewer because you're kind of like, "Hello, what's going on? What are we doing here?"
So
you
I
just
don't
kinda
know
gotta go
if you knew this, but when you're watching on Apple TV Plus, you can change the audio to the radio broadcast of either team.
Well, you can do that on MLB TV, I believe.
No, so when
Oh,
you do
so
that,
instead of listening to the Apple TV broadcasters, I can listen to Chris Carajola, and the inning comes to a close.
yeah. So if you want to not because that's the problem with these national broadcasts is sometimes they don't have correct information or things like I really feel like they're going to be talking a lot about Baltimore. And I bet they talk a lot about Jackson Holiday, even though he's not on the active roster right now. So, Saturday is Ryan Nelson versus John Means. And then Sunday will be Gallon versus Creamer. So
that's
A gallon of creamer.
Is it a creamer or cremer? I'm gonna call him creamer. I want to go with creamer because it's just funny.
Oh, it's probably Creamer because there's no A in there. I don't care. So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Josh, this needs to be an option. Because what there was one playoff game. Wasn't it Cleveland or Orlando? ESPN forgot to turn on the audio for the broadcasters, and everyone was like, "This is the best thing ever."
I thought that was on purpose. I thought the beginning, because I remember seeing clips of that on Twitter about the beginning of the game was
it
like
was not on purpose.
all crowd sound.
Everyone's like, it should be an option where you can just select to just hear the sounds from inside the arena, which I would love.
I would do that for all playoff baseball games, so I never have to listen to Bob Costas bitch ever again.
So in terms of this series, had you asked me on Monday how I felt, I'm like, we're gonna get swept. Right now, the way that they're playing on a 4-game win streak, I think they could take 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I would agree, especially with Baltimore. I mean, they lost 2 against Washington. I feel like we have a better team than Washington. I mean, Washington's, they're not bad, but I feel like on paper we have a better team. I feel like they
Miami
can.
Bad.
Bad. I feel like they can take the series. Obviously, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore, because they have a good team. I think their biggest weak spot is the pitching, and they're not facing against what's his face Burns.
That's a huge miss.
So
we missed Dolo.
No,
and
the Reds. Yeah,
we missed him against the Reds. Now, I don't think we're gonna miss them when they come here next week. But also missing Corbin Burns, is a huge
really,
thing.
really key. Yeah, I think go out there and win the first game, because the thing is you can't win series if you don't win that first game, because at that point you're just playing uphill at that point. But I think I like Baltimore. I think in 2021 I might have tweeted out this can be Baltimore in the Dbacks 2025 World Series, and I still think I'm right about that.
I'd be okay with it. I mean, me personally, I do have an agenda that, like, 5 years ago I tweeted the D-backs would win the world, or 6 years ago maybe, the D-backs would win the World Series in 2025. So as long as that happens. So one thing I'm going to be a little sad about going into the series with the Orioles is Alek Thomas is not going to be active to face his newest adopted son, Craig.
I mean, let's just go straight into it since you brought it up. Alec had a little bit of a setback after he played on Sunday in Reno, I guess. Still a little bit dealing with it's a hamstring, correct? I think.
Yeah, hammy.
So yeah, I guess it was still a little bit tight. So he went back to Phoenix, and they took a look to see what the next steps are. So he's probably delayed another week or 2, probably. Other than that, he had to go back to Phoenix. I don't think I've seen any news as an update with him. So, but I think we're doing the way Jake's playing right now. They don't need to rush him back, which is huge. So, I am completely okay if they want to like slow roll bringing Alec back at all um at all costs, because like if Jake was struggling, I'm like, we need him back, but we don't. Like Jake's playing well. Haven's not playing awful when he gets the chance. So I'm completely fine with them just taking their time with Alec. Now, I do want to see him back because I love watching Alec. Because there's been a lot of fly balls hit that I'm like, Alec would have gotten that. Corbin has missed a few. He doesn't, I think, read the ball as well, but he's faster, so he can make up for it.
Yeah.
With when he takes bad routes to balls. So Gabe, any other predictions or hot takes, bold takes for the series against Baltimore?
I don't know. Let's see. Pavin's gonna hit the brick wall on Saturday. On where are we? Saturday, I'll say.
Career or like actually with a baseball?
Both.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That was mean to me. That was mean. I apologize.
So still sticking here with injury news. Nick Coro did have a tweet saying there's good news on the Eduardo Rodriguez MRI from yesterday. It showed healing and appears closer to begin a throwing program. Torrey said Rodriguez is probably still a month or so away from a potential return. But good news is that they've seen signs of healing, which when I saw that, I'm like, that's massive news. That's huge.
Yes, the fact that, I was kind of like sitting there just expecting, that's just the way the season's gone. I was expecting bad news. But that was great, man. It's just another, that I still don't think we've gotten any actual concrete like updates on Perdomo. I know he had the Instagram post, but I think if we get news about him soon, that'd be really nice. It's good to know that, hopefully the health of the team is getting back up into what we, kind of saw it would look like on paper at the beginning of opening day.
So, Brett, what's your bold pick for the series?
So I'm not going to do any bold picks on like pitcher wise, because the two that I did that I said, oh, we'd chase this pitcher, would we light up this pitcher, was Yamamoto and Dylan Cease, and both of those went terribly. So I'm going to predict that Corbin has a 2 home run game. He's gonna do what Pavin can't, and he's actually gonna hit the bricks. He's gonna try to hit the brick building out there.
All right, well then I'll go with a pitcher one. Ryan Nelson on Saturday, 10 strikeouts.
Oh, that is a very bold one. I like it.
Yeah, you know what? Why not? I thought he looked fairly decent in his last start. He didn't look amazing, but he didn't look awful. So I think just the next start after is taking a line drive off the elbow. I think he'll do very, very well. Second straight sweep would be great. You know what would be even better? How we went 10 straight series opening losses. Flip that. 10 straight series opening wins.
10 straight series sweeps. Fuck it. Just never lose it. Just never lose again.
I would be content with 10 straight series wins. Like I would love. God, what that would have to put us through like August, or like very, very close to like most of the season.
Yeah, you definitely be past the All-Star break.
Minimum. And like just thinking winning 2 out of 3, that we would have been a very like we'd probably be about 10 games over 500 at that point.
Which I can confirm right now. Let me check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 just alone in May. No, we would be 10 straight series. So we got the Orioles, Reds, Tigers, Dodgers, Marlins, Rangers, Mets, Giants, Padres. Not going to lie, on paper, I think at least half of those we can definitely win.
Yeah, I think we're very much right. Everyone, thanks for tuning in to Dbacks Dispatch here for our Cincinnati Reds series recap. We will be back on Sunday to talk how we did against the Baltimore Orioles. I'm very excited for us to face, because I think when you face good teams, you kind of know what kind of team you have. And I think we've kind of reached that point of the season where we kind of we do know what certain teams are. So I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. Make sure to hit that notification bell that way you get notified whenever we go live. See y'all next
Yeah, you know how it is, Cincinnati. We get into trouble. You know what's up, but